Welcome to the Shaman Householder. My name is Marcella. I am so honored and grateful that you're here. I apologize for not posting a video the last couple of weeks. I had a birthday that I celebrated and I also caught a cold. If you listen closely, you can still hear the tail end of it because I am still nasally from recovery. But what I want to talk about is spiritual bypassing. And I have been contemplating how I personally spiritually bypass in my life and how my mind schemes using spiritual bypassing not to be present in how I'm feeling and digesting my emotions. Spiritual bypassing is a term coined in the 1980s to describe this exact process. For example, love and light can be used to run away from the fact that you're angry, that someone crossed your boundaries, or even the fact that you don't have boundaries or have weak boundaries because everything's love and light, right? Or everything happens for a reason, opens up the possibility of not acknowledging your own pain or acknowledging someone else's pain. My spiritual bypassing comes in the form of accepting what is. And accepting what is not a horrible advice or invitation in and of itself. However, for me personally, spiritual bypassing meant that I had to like or be okay with what was happening. So for example, if my husband leaves his socks on the floor and doesn't pick them up, accepting what is, right? I thought I had to like it and be okay with the fact that he leaves his socks on the floor. When in actuality, I don't like the fact that he leaves his socks on the floor. This is just an example. He doesn't leave his socks on the floor. But I realized that I was bypassing the fact, using this term, accepting what is, to not admit to myself that I didn't like what was happening. And in fact, that accepting what is does include the fact that I don't like what's happening. And being able to sit in the fact and accept I don't like it. Because that's part of accepting what is. That my husband leaves his socks on the floor, and I don't like the fact that he leaves his socks on the floor. So what do, right? You sit with it. Christopher Wallis, PhD, he has a podcast called Tantra Illuminated. He also has a community, tantrailluminated.com, I believe. I'll leave the link below. He is all about the experience, and in my understanding, I've only followed him recently, but he's all about the experience and being with the experience and accepting the experience without attaching the story to it, right? So for me to accept what is the invitation to sit with the fact that I don't like what's happening and not attach to the story, not attach to the story that my husband's a slob. Again, this is an example. My husband's a slob. He doesn't listen to me. All that stuff over and over and over again, right? the mind is mantra, right? Attaching that story to it. When all I need to do and all it's required of me is to accept what is and accept that I don't like it. And once you do that, options become available. I can continue to nag at him to pick up his socks, or I can do it myself without complaining. See the socks, picking up my husband's socks, as seva, as service to the Devi, to the goddess, to the Lord, or just leave them there, right? Or any other possibility that I can think of. The book that opened up my eyes to spiritual bypassing, again, is a book written by Christopher Wallis, PhD. The book is called Near Enemies of the Truth. I am not an affiliate. I want to make that clear. However, this book really opened up my eyes on spiritual bypassing and how we collectively use terms like go with the flow or everything happens for a reason as a way to spiritual bypass, and they are near enemies of the truth, because when you follow that path of everything happens for a reason, for example, then the end result might not be where you want to be, because you did not process the experience the way you should have, where sitting with the experience, digesting the emotions, and accepting that you don't like it, right? I encourage you and invite you to read that book. It really opened up my eyes of spiritual bypassing and how I do spiritual bypassing, and even like watching other people say that, everything happens for a reason, how it does affect the person that it's said to and the person saying it. So thank you again for watching and listening to me and being and holding space with me. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'll see you in the next one.